Konnichiwa! Most of you know that Marvel and Netflix have gone into a deal to develop 5 series based on the characters Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. But what you may not know is how these shows fall into the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole, and why you should even care. Welcome to Geek Top 5, and here are 5 reasons that you should be hyped for the Marvel Netflix shows, and that they may be better than the movies. Number 5. It's Netflix, people! Marvel making these in 13 episode show form is great, but making these in Netflix show form is even better. Not only do more people watch Netflix than any other network in the US, no seriously look it up, but because of the Netflix model of releasing the entire season at one time, we most likely won't have the show be, episodic. Look at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. First season, not second season. If you don't understand why it was bad, there are a ton of reasons, but one of the biggest is the fact that the show didn't tell a continuing story. It was more of a freak of the week kind of thing. For the most part of the first season, there was almost no continuity whatsoever. I remember missing one episode and then the next week watching the next episode, and I couldn't even tell that I missed the other one. In fact, the reason I believe the last 3 or 4 episodes of the entire show were better than the whole season was because it followed one storyline. One continuing storyline instead of a no consequence self-contained story each episode. Being on Netflix and not having to wait for one episode a week and worry about delays and ratings and worrying about making it accessible enough will allow the filmmakers to make a film. A very long 13-hour film, but a film. And the show will just be like, House of Cards and Orange is the New Black and Marco Polo, and will give us the chance to see a more focused story. And speaking of story, number 4, the tone. These stories are going to go a bit darker than anything else in the Marvel Universe, the MCU. Don't get me wrong, I love the MCU, but let's be honest, it's a PG-13 rated universe and it always will be. Which is why I'm thankful for this one quote from an Empire Magazine interview with Netflix Chief Content Officer Ted Sarandos. He basically controls all the stuff on Netflix. The series will not be afraid to go darker than the films did. What we love about these particular set of heroes is that they're a little bit more, down to earth, costume-wise, and also in that these are gritty crime stories. More in the streets, less in the clouds. Thanks, Ted Sarandos. Pretty much sums it up. I mean, it's on Netflix, alright? The network mostly produces TVMA rated content. Daredevil has already been given a TVMA rating, and from those trailers, it's not hard to see why. These Netflix shows were made to tell the gritty stories that they can't tell in the more family-friendly movies. Which brings us to number 3. These stories are gonna be really effed up. The characters that Marvel has chosen to focus on all have some really dark source material. For example, Luke Cage's origin story involves his best friend planting heroin in his house and then calling the cops and sending him to jail in order to steal his girl. But wait, there's more. He gets his powers in jail because the warden gives him an offer if he let them use his body for a medical experiment. It's kind of like a super soldier thing. During the experiment, however, a racist prison guard decides to up the dosage in an attempt to kill Luke Cage. But instead, this gives him Wolverine-like healing powers, super strength, and bulletproof skin, which instead of using for the good of all mankind, he decides to use for the good of his wallet, figuring that if he's going to be a hero, he might as well get paid for it. Eventually joined by the other character getting his own show, Iron Fist, they become the heroes for hire. However, if Luke Cage's origin story wasn't, edgy enough for ya, how about one of the other characters that are getting their own Netflix show? Miss Jessica Jones, aka Luke Cage's future wife. She also has a sort of dark past and present and future, actually. One of the darkest parts of Jessica Jones' past is when she gets mind controlled and sort of, scarred for life by the Daredevil villain, the Purple Man. As he molests and murders young girls and forces her to watch powerless to stop it. Because of this, Jessica Jones has post-traumatic stress disorder, making the total of mental disorders in the MCU at least 3, with Stark having panic attacks, Daredevil's whole depression thing, and, Jessica Jones. So it looks like Netflix will tell pretty dark and effed up stories with our 4 characters. And about those characters. Number 2. Maybe something you noticed in number 3. The Defenders. Although these 4 Netflix shows are pretty much all connected anyway, since Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones are all characters that sort of depend on each other to make their stories complete. Netflix and Marvel have confirmed that all 4 shows will come together creating a version of the Defenders. What are they defending, you may ask? Well, New York City, of course, specifically Hell's Kitchen, against the forces of, whatever evil may come up in Hell's Kitchen. So, we're basically going to be getting 13-hour origin stories, and then they're all going to come together to form the Defenders, making the brand new street-level Avengers, which is yet another segue for the best reason of all. Number 1. It's all connected. These shows are made by Marvel. Alright, they don't just create characters so that they're one and done. They introduce characters into the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Meaning, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, The Incredible Hulk, Agent Carter, and the Avengers movies are all connected. Meaning that these characters are fair game to be in the Avengers, or maybe get their own movies later on down the road. Or possibly show up in maybe a Civil War. I hope you're listening, Marvel. All I know is that with these shows and the entire Phase 3 lineup, Marvel is working overtime. The studio is putting out tons of content and is doing some pretty ambitious stuff with their properties. All this is looking to pay off when the first of the Marvel Netflix shows, Daredevil, is released exclusively on Netflix on April 10th, 2015. Until then, my name is Geek. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's right down there. Just click the button. It's free. Cost you anything. It might hurt your pinky a little bit. Like this video if you like this video. Share this video to anyone you think would like the Marvel Netflix shows. And until next time, my name is Geek. Excelsior.